What else?
Studio with a special guest hailing all the way from Bolton, not Ontario, but the United Kingdom, England. Please welcome manager of the Bolton Wanderers Football Club of the English Premiership's International Academy, David Bailey. David, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, I got to ask, right off the top, what do you think of our lovely little town here of Bolton, Ontario, and does it compare at all to Bolton, England?
I'm glad to say it doesn't compare to Bolton, England. It's a beautiful little town. We had a little drive through, fantastic, beautiful scenery, cold, just like Bolton, so I feel like I'm at home.
You guys have been getting the snow over there too, so it's not too much of a difference.
We've got your snow, it's still snowing over there now.
There it is. So we'll get right into it. Obviously we mentioned the International Academy, so tell us a little bit about what the Academy is all about in Bolton.
There's two sides to the Academy. There is the main Academy, which is the English boys that are in there from 9s to 16s. There's the under 18 side of the academy, which is very much the competitive side, looking to become young professionals. And then we have the International Academy, the International Soccer Schools programme, where I fit in, which is twofold really. It's a talent ID programme to go out and try and identify players at younger ages, and it's to help clubs like Bolton Wanderers Soccer Club develop their own infrastructure and players. And help the coaches and the education and everything that goes with that.
So what about your role within the academy?
I manage the International Soccer School programme. So under that banner is the Talent ID programmes, visits where Canadian teams, any team all over the world will come and stay within the Reebok, because we have a hotel that's integrated in there, which is a world first.
Oh, yeah.
That helps then generate the interest and helps broaden the Bolton Wanderers family. And likewise, as I say, it's looking at players, it's trying to identify young footballers. The club would say not enough, but I'm out of the country a lot. Already we've been to Egypt this year, now we're in Canada, we've got India, we'll have a couple of Canadian teams come and visit us. We're already out in Canada in March again. In this sort of area as well, so extensively Australia, USA, Africa, Iceland. Our first team right back, Greta Steinson's actually just texted me today asking when I'm going to do his soccer schools. He has an academy out in Iceland. So we're out of the country quite a lot, and likewise it's fantastic. What a job, it's just unbelievable, the opportunity to work for a Premier League football club and do what we do. Right. It's fantastic to take it to the masses. The kids that I've been working with this week have just been fantastic. They've loved every minute of it. So that's very pleasing to see the smiles on their faces.
Exactly, yeah. And how do you choose which place to go? How do you make your contacts throughout? Is this just by way of networking, whoever you know?
Well, this one's an interesting one, because obviously Bolton Wanderers Soccer Club has had a link with the club for a long time, hence the logo and the brand. And what it was last year is I had two coaches in the area out with DPS, Dribble Pass Shoot Academy, and they came across Bolton Wanderers. I think the girls were playing. And so they phoned me saying, look, there's this club out here. And I knew of the club. And I got in touch with William, who's kindly videoing this interview for himself, sat next to me. And I got in touch with him and asked if he'd be interested to renew the ties. And I invited a delegation from Bolton Wanderers Soccer Club to come over, watch a Premier League game, come and stay in the hotel, meet me. And I'm very black and white type person, straight down the line. I tell it as it is, and I told them what we could offer, and they seemed happy to go with it, hence that's why I'm here.
Right, so explain this relationship now between the Bolton Wanderers Soccer Club. Obviously the BWFC, the soccer club here in town, has been around for about 30 plus years now, and now just recently making the trip over to England and seeing your club. What do you hope to establish with the BWSC and the BWFC?
In the short term, we want to help player development. We want to try and implement that straight away. We want to help with coaches development. We want to help with infrastructure. We want the aura of association, in other words linked with us, the Premier League Football Club, to be something that the boys and girls and your staff and everybody in Bolton is going to be very proud of. Medium-term goals, 3 to 5 years. It would be nice to get a couple of teams over on a regular basis to Bolton to pit their wits against our own boys to see how you're developing. And obviously, like any long-term goal, it's about players. It's about finding a player that potentially you never know could sign on the dotted line and represent Bolton.
Right.
And as I said to you before, if not, they may develop players that will go on to play for other clubs, go on to play for national teams. So the link is about the whole infrastructure of it and that aura of association.
So player development, obviously coaching mentality, coaching the coaches.
Yeah, from player mentality, it's quite simple. You look at factors like technical, physical, mental, tactical, and we're great believers of we want to develop the core elements, which are the players. You have to do that through the coaches, so the coaches then have to have their education, which in Ontario there's 500,000 players. There has to be footballers that are good enough in 500,000.
Right.
And likewise, the Canadian Soccer Association does its bit with all its things that brings to it. We just want to try and add something maybe a little bit different, because we know what it takes to play at the highest level. We're sort of saying to players now, since 2001 to date, high intensity running has increased by 60% in the Premiership. So obviously as a coach you've got to adapt to that. So your training has to have a lot more tempo than what I've seen in the coaching with the boys I've seen so far. And likewise you have to develop athletes.
Right.
Our remit is, I like to think that we look for attitude in a player first and foremost. We look for athleticism. We look for ability and ambition, and they tend to be in that order. That's not always the case. Some people disagree with that, but I can tell you now, all those players, any player that you can name worldwide that is in that Premier League, first and foremost, regardless of their ability, is a very, very good athlete.
Right. And I saw that exactly from day one when you came to the Bolton Wanderers Elite Camp this week, and you were looking at who's an athlete first, and you could almost tell which players would be able to succeed in a professional environment just by looking at the way they run, the way they go through the basic stuff before even touching a ball.
Yeah, I stick my neck on the block a little bit there and say that, and I know other coaches out there across Canada and other coaches within our Premier League will probably not agree with that, but I tend to be able to hone in on the athlete side of it. I know how fast they've got to run, I know about the coordination and things like that, and you can tell a lot from a player in his warm-up, the dynamic flexibility, and I do the balance and coordination tests, the squat tests, the balance test that we have where they're just standing on one leg, something very simple like that.
Right.
And I know obviously there is a young boy out there who's probably the dread of the day I've turned up because he did the squat and completely fell over. But that just goes to show about the balance and coordination. Right. And he's a powerful boy. But if you could hone in and help his athletic ability, the power, the strength, the stamina, the speed, you're on a good grounding for a good player.
Yeah.